My name is Webster. I'm a freshman art major, and I'm from Stockholm, Sweden.
I'm Samuel. I'm from Sweden too. I'm a freshman ICS major.
And my name is Anna. I'm a freshman, and I'm a music composition major. I'm from Norway.
Okay, yes. So we're gonna play a small game with you guys. It's called What is Not Swedish. So we're gonna show some pictures, and we want you to say yes if it's from Sweden and no if it's not. So we have the first picture. Can we get it here? Swedish or not Swedish? Cheese.
Cheese, come on, yes.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes?
Yes. No. No.
You're wrong.
Not Swedish.
Okay, guys, next picture, please. Chocolate. You have seen chocolate, you know, like chocolate, Toblerone. Who thinks it's Swedish? Is it Swedish? Yes? I hear yes from here. No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, next picture. We have the Alps. All right, you know those mountain villages, the thatched roofs, the cows. Is it Swedish or not Swedish?
No.
Good job. It's not.
A lot of people, they think Switzerland and Sweden is the same, so yeah.
But what about this? Look at this. 4 things. One thing that is Swedish, not Swedish. What is Swedish?
We have one thing. What's the thing that's Swedish in this picture? IKEA. They all are.
Yes.
Spotify, Skype, Minecraft, and IKEA are Swedish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was our quiz. So good job.
Good job. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Okay. You live in a globalized society, and it's easy to feel disconnected from this truth because you might not necessarily feel like you're interacting with different cultures every day. But in reality, every day, you are in contact with cultures that you may know nothing about. And so we're here to share some of our cultures with you. God morgon. Jag heter Laura Webster och jag är missionärsbarn. Good morning. My name is Laura Webster and I am a missionary kid. While I was born in France and spent the first half of my life living there, I have spent the last 10 years living in Stockholm, Sweden. And I have the privilege over the next 5-ish minutes of sharing with you about my home country. Now, 5 minutes is far too little time to describe the richness and the depth of this country that I call home, but I'll do my best. Sweden is a beautiful country actually, first let's introduce what Scandinavia is. Scandinavia is the northernmost part of Europe, and for the most part, it surrounds the Baltic Sea, which is north of Germany. Scandinavia consists of 5 countries: Finland, Denmark, Norway, Iceland, and Sweden. Sweden is a beautiful country of forests, fields, and lakes. It is roughly the size of California, but has a population of only 9.5 million people. To put that in perspective for you, Los Angeles County alone has over 10 million people. Stockholm is the capital of Sweden. It's on roughly the same latitude as Anchorage, Alaska, and has a little over 1 million people who live there. Sweden is a highly secular place that has fallen away from its Protestant roots. It is a country that boasts in its open-mindedness and tolerance of diverse lifestyles. It is a champion of human rights and democracy around the world. It is a country that takes in refugees from war-torn areas that we often only hear about from a distance, such as Syria, Iraq, or Afghanistan. If you were to put the Democratic and Republican parties on the Swedish political spectrum, both of them would be right-wing. This is my home. Sweden has a wonderfully quirky personality. If the United States is an extroverted culture, then Sweden is introverted. It is a place where making small talk with strangers gets you weird looks and a stony silence. It is a place where it is considered rude to take the last of any kind of snack or food at a party, to the point where if you have one slice of cake left on a plate, That slice will be cut in half continuously until you only have a sliver of cake left. But at least you didn't take a piece of food that someone else might have wanted. I often describe Swedes as sunflowers. My favorite time of the year is actually a couple weeks from now in late March. After 5 months of winter, with the sun rising at 9 in the morning and setting at 2:30 in the afternoon, you reach a point while you're waiting for your bus on your way to school, where the sun has finally risen early enough that morning that it breaks over the buildings and it shines on you as you wait. And in that moment, in unison and without a word, because you don't know each other, everyone will turn and just bask in its warmth. Sweden is a beautiful country, but I will not leave you with this sugar-coated perspective of it. Those of you who got the prayer cards for Sweden at Missions Conference will have seen that only around 2 or 3% of Swedes are Christian. What that translated in my own life into was being the only Christian I knew of in a junior high of 700 students. In high school, it was a rare gift because I had 3 other Christian friends with me until 2 of them graduated a year before I did, and then it was 2 of us among 400. What happens when you are the only Christian in a sea of atheist and Muslim peers? You become Christ to them. I had to wrestle with the knowledge that I was potentially the only authentic Christian my friends would meet in their academic career. As a result, my behavior determines whether they rejected or received the gospel. When I was, from an early age, like 13, I was subject to their questions on Christianity, on anything from my view on homosexuality to why a good God would allow so much suffering in the world. And if I didn't give them reasonable answers to these questions, I risked confirming their view of Christians as unintelligent, out of touch with modern culture, and delusional. I remember one social studies class in 9th grade in particular. After a conversation with my Catholic teacher about our religious views after class, he decided to change the plan for that particular lesson and open the floor to a general discussion on Christianity. What that essentially boiled down to was me sitting on top of my desk in the center of this classroom, answering my 15-year-old classmates' questions on Christianity for over an hour. What are your views on abortion? Is Jesus really the only way to heaven? Did God send the tsunami that hit Japan that year? And if he didn't send it, then why didn't he stop it from happening? As a Christian teen in a secular society in Sweden, you are the minority in a culture that is consumed with lust for pleasure and success. This manifested itself for my non-Christian friends in wild drinking parties, sexual promiscuity, and a lot of unspoken hurt. A friend of mine described going back to class after break as taking a deep breath before plunging into deep water. You have to let the word of God soak into your being or you risk drowning. Recent statistics came out that showed that the suicide rate in Sweden has increased for the 2nd year in a row, and the greatest increase occurred in the age group of 15 to 24 years old. These are our peers. My Christian peers at my home church in Stockholm are some of the strongest and most faithful people I know because they have to be strong. C.S. Lewis describes this world as occupied territory. We as Christians are the rebellion that has infiltrated this territory and is reclaiming it for the rightful king. In Sweden, a country that hasn't been to war in over 200 years, you feel this battle every day. But, dear Biolans, there is hope for Sweden. Jesus is the hope for Sweden. Jesus is the answer to their search for meaning and fulfillment, just as he is the answer to our search. The gospel has the power to transform their lives, just as it has transformed ours. And Jesus died and rose again for the salvation of the Swedes, just as he died and rose again for ours. And this summer, we have the wonderful opportunity of sharing this gospel of good news to them as we send a short-term mission to Sweden. It's my prayer for those of you on that team that you would extend the hope of Christ to a people who mean so much to me. As Anna transitions us into a time of worship with a traditional Norwegian hymn, let us take a moment together to pray for strength and courage for our Christian brothers and sisters in Sweden, that they would stand firm in the face of psychological persecution. And let us pray for the people of Sweden, that God would soften their hearts so that they could turn to him and be saved. Let's take a moment together.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Irene.
My name is Rika.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share with you about Taiwan. It's a place where some people consider as a country, some people consider as a territory, some people consider as a training ground for Chinese mission, or a place that needs mission. To us, we consider Taiwan as our home after all the controversies about her identity. We would like to share with you a glimpse about the place that shapes us. Taiwan is an island located in East Asia. When Portuguese sailors back in the 16th century first came to Taiwan, they acclaimed her with a single word, Formosa, which means beautiful island. Taiwan is a democratic society. The official language there is Mandarin Chinese. However, many local people, especially people outside of Taipei City, mainly speak Taiwanese.
Even though we are a small island and have limited resources, Taiwanese have an attitude to believe that hard working can bring us success. Throughout the past centuries, Taiwanese people are known for being culture shapers in Asia, and we are really good at developing cuisines. For example, boba milk tea is one of our most successful and representative beverages, which we will be serving in today's Wake Up Wednesday, so feel free and come and grab a drink. There are some Taiwanese brands and products that you guys might know or are using, including HTC, Asus, Acer, Giant Bike, and 85 Degree Bakeries, and so on. Nevertheless, what I love most about Taiwan is the trust and kindness embedded in the culture, and it is a place that you can find friendliness among people.
Delving deeper into Taiwan, it is inevitable to talk about Taiwan's multicultural characteristics, which shape Taiwan to be a place that listens and tolerates different voices. Taiwan was originally inhabited by the Aboriginals. In the mid-17th century, Dutch and Spanish, they first brought Christianity to Taiwan. Japan also plays an important role in Taiwan's development. Like Puritans coming all the way to pursue their idea of freedom in America, Taiwan is a place where Chinese people achieve their idea of democracy. Many missionaries came to Taiwan and devoted their lives to spread the gospel and brought tremendous contributions such as medical care, broadcasting, and so on.
However, due to the strong superstition and the traditional polytheistic religion, after all this year, Christian percentage in Taiwan is only 2.6. Therefore, evangelicalism is a prayer request for Taiwan. And even though the percentage is very low, God still has used many Taiwanese to be his servant and spread the gospel over Asia to fulfill his heart. Thank you for listening. Next, Julie Brown, a junior biology major, is going to share with us her experience growing up in Taiwan. So please join us and welcome Julie.
Hi guys. As they said, my name is Julie, and I was born and raised in Taiwan. I've lived there for 18 years, and after I graduated from high school, I came to America for college. So this is my third year here. I look American, but I don't fit the mold that most people put me in because I'm not American. I went to Taiwanese public school, I'm fluent in Mandarin, and I grew up with most of my friends being Asians. So with this type of background, coming here to America, I didn't really feel like I fit in very well because I look American, but I identify myself as Taiwanese. It's very frustrating for me because in both cultures, I'm expected to be white, and I'm not. I'm Asian inside. And I don't identify myself as Taiwanese just because I grew up there, but because I love my country and I love my people. I love the hot, humid weather. I love the food. I love the language. I love the atmosphere. I love the convenience. I love how friendly and welcoming Taiwanese people are. I love that Taiwan is family-centered. I love my home. So as you can imagine, coming here to America was difficult for me because of the vast differences in culture and language. For example, in Taiwan, the importance of grades is really stressed. So you have to get straight A's, otherwise you're a failure and you'll never amount to anything. And coming here, I brought that with me because I grew up learning that I needed to get good grades in order to succeed. So my first semester here, I got a C, and I remember just bawling my eyes out because I was so upset over this devastating grade that I had got, and thought I was a failure and I would never succeed. And I remember my friends not understanding why I was so upset, and they asked me why I was being over-dramatic or over-exaggerating over this grade. And they expected me to act towards grades as an American would, but that's impossible for me because I'm not American. I was taught my whole life that grades were really important, and that was the norm for me. But over time, being here in America has really helped me to loosen up on not being so hard on myself when I get a bad grade, and not to lean on grades for my self-esteem. Another example of how the culture and language is really different is how we talk in Mandarin. Mandarin is a tonal language, so often when we speak, we're very expressive. So to an American, this language may sound a little dramatic. I remember once my freshman year, I was talking with my mom on the phone, and when I hung up, my friends asked me, "Is that how you normally talk to your mom? If I talked to my mom that way, she would beat me up." And I was like, whoa, hold on. They just assumed that I was being rude or disrespectful to my mom, but I wasn't. I was just speaking in a normal tone. That's how we talk. So these two stories are just examples of how the culture is so vastly different and how I get put in a box based on what I look like. This is not just my story. This is the story of many global students. So I would encourage you all to get to know people before you put them in a box based on what they look like, because they just might surprise you. So take the time to listen, engage in conversation, and try to understand the differences between your culture and theirs. And I know that many people would really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me share my story today.
We hope you enjoyed this message. Biola University offers a variety of biblically centered degree programs, ranging from business to ministry to the arts and sciences. Learn more at biola.edu.